Our next topic for today, the parallax between science and Gita, addressed by Sri Ravi Kumar. Ravi Kumar's session will be chaired by Sri D. Natarajan. Sri Natarajan is a noted educationist, the past president of Singapore Dakshina Bharata Brahmana Sabha. It gives me great pleasure to invite Sri Ravi Kumar and Sri D. Natarajan onto the stage. May I request Sri Natarajan to welcome our speaker, garlanding him. Now request Sri Natarajan to introduce our speaker and conduct the session.
Now, basically, Gita is a subject. Volumes, orators, so many vastness of the subject. Ravi Kumar is going to take us to dimension, how Gita is very science, parallax, topic in how it is related to most of us are how this can be. This Ravi Kumar, I'm for Seva International. I understand writer, author of influences Ramayana around the world, and he is also a commander. Of course, he has conducted several workshops.
Respected Chairman, members of the Director Community of Singapore, I am thankful to the organizers for throwing this subject on me. I am not an expert on this subject, but I chance to explore. Maybe together with you, I will be a more educated person at the end of the in science and engineering, I have been giving lectures. I have just passed out of the level, but in philosophy, I am still basic primary level. But coming to Singapore, the moment you get down at the airport, they say, "Welcome to Singapore, the city of lion." In a language, city of lion means Singapore, Sanskrit. And great historians who have studied the Southeast Asian countries, like Arnold Toynbee, Max Muller, and all have said that nowhere else in the world history you can see two different cultures come together. There has been so much of synthesis. Go to Indonesia, in the 20,000 rupiah you have the image of Ganesha. Their airlines is called Garuda Airlines. Their past president was called Sukarno Putri Meghavati. What happens in the other parts of the world when two cultures collide? There is annihilation. And here is two worlds coming together for synthesis. That is what the latest physicists are wondering. If there is another world called the antimatter, if it comes in contact with this world, they say that it will collide and destroy each other. What is an antimatter? In an electron, in an atom there is an electron. The electron has no weight and it goes around the central nucleus, that is proton and the neutron. But there is another world, they say, where the electron is positive in nature and not negative in nature, but it still goes around the nucleus. Where the proton, which has the weight, is negative in electric character. That world and this world collide, there will be annihilation. Because the prediction in the year 1959, and both of them got the Nobel Prize. Same time in the year 1959, Sri Prabhupada, he wrote a book, An Easy Journey to the Other World, the Other Planet, and he said, yes, there is another world, and that is the spiritual world. And if the material world and the spiritual world were to collide, please remember the spiritual world can never be annihilated. That in a fraction we can see in this part of the world, the largest temple complex in the world for any religion is Cambodia, Wat Angkor. Thailand is promoting a Hindu art into the Olympics. Thai kickboxing is based on the Vali Sugriva Yuddha. Go to the most modern airport that is in Bangkok called Swarnabhumi, and you have got the Samudra Manthan picture. So the ambassador of China to USA said, India conquered and dominated China culturally for 20 centuries, 2000 years, without ever having to send a single soldier across the border. So you can see that, and in these days also, these are all old war stories, but what about today? A lot of things are happening which is bringing people closer to Vedantic thought. So, Chinese Prime Minister quotes from the Upanishads while talking to the Politburo. Same way, Thabo Mbeki, when he is addressing the students of Durban University, quotes from the Vedas, Sangat Sattvam, Samvadatvam, and yoga is being promoted even at the Egyptian pyramids, and the Sultan of Bahrain used to attend lectures by Swami Chinmayananda and now Pramukh Swamiji, and the list goes on. So many people. And Obama says America is a country of the Christians, Jews, the Muslims, the Hindus also. And he just now converted White House into Lighthouse. And on Deepavali he lighted lamps. And Julia Roberts just few days back named her daughter as Mahalakshmi, son as Krishna Balram and Ganesh. We are also living the birthplace of Bhagavad Gita, and the Upanishads is India. India with a begging bowl cannot inspire Vedanta teachings to the world, but India is now becoming very self-supporting, self-reliant, and fastly growing in various sectors. Come to the next section. That gives a hope that this Gita will go down and transform, and what everybody is thinking when two cultures collide, because that is what Huntington is saying, that when there is collision of these two cultures, there is going to be world war. And everybody says what the world war will be, third world war will be, we do not know, but fourth world war will be definitely fought by prehistoric people with the stones, because nothing else will remain. And Arnold Toynbee says, at this point of time, when one madman can press a button and annihilate this world 50 times, so much of lethal weapons are available, the only hope for the world is the Vedantic thought. So we'll see how the science is looking at Vedanta, how the science has progressed in these years. What is a parallax? Parallax is one object, two people see it in two different ways because they are standing at two different positions. Now I'll give you some examples. You can just see how many legs the elephant has. Different people will give different answers. Can you see a dark black dot in that count? The answer is there are no black dots, but it appears to be black dots. Whether it is a rabbit or a duck, for you to see. And all these lines are parallel and still they look. No. You must have seen. If you come closer to this, then you will understand. Here English letter LIAR is written, but you see the face of a person. Now these three soldiers, apparently they appear to be smaller and bigger, but all of them are of same size. But what did the ancient Indians say about parallax? So here are the Nyaya Sutras. Raju Sarpa Nyaya, any student of Vedanta would know that when a person is in the dimness of light, darkness of light, he sees a snake, but on closer examination he realizes that it is only a rope. So snake has been superimposed on the. In Tamil we have, a person went to another rich man's house, and there he saw a huge dog, so he was afraid to go in. But on closer examination, he threw another stone at the dog, and then he realized it's not a dog, it is only a statue of a dog. Now he is no more afraid. So in Tamil the saying is, when you saw the stone, the dog was not there. When you saw the dog, first he saw the dog, he didn't see the stone. So Kallai Kattal Nayai Kanavillai, Nayai Kandal Kallai Kanavillai. But people use it in different ways also, another way also, as if to hit the dog and drive him away. We have the Bhasmasur in India and Greek mythology, Midas touch. What was a boon became vain for him. Now, a man was driving his car very fast. So, why fast? Why are you driving so fast now? He said the brakes are completely failed. Let us reach home before any accident takes place. So, this is how you look at it from different angles. Nobody ever has complained that our parachutes don't work. We have got many stories in our Upanishads and parallel in epics that bring out different meanings. See, Ayodhya Prince Ram went to forest for 14 years without questioning. Not everybody does it. And the Delhi prince, he arrested his father Shah Jahan and murdered both his elder brothers. So like that it goes, many examples. When Shabri offered fruits, Ram enjoyed because he saw something more than just those fruits. Saw her noble heart, and Lakshmana could not. Now there is something close to parallax, is called the paradox. The famous paradox is that of a barber. Once a barber lived in Vichitrapuram. All the men in the town either shaved themselves or were shaved by the barber. And the barber only shaved the men who did not shave themselves. Now, did the barber shave himself? Please tell me tomorrow. Other paradox, there is no egg in the eggplant. Now, science is something that teaches you in a methodical way, and it allows you to be examined and tested and verified. Then only it is called science. Today, even psychology is considered science because there you can go step by step. That is the way science is to be understood, and Gita is definitely a science of life. Whereas for electricity, we would all be watching television by candlelight. And as long as algebra is taught in schools, children will always need God and prayers. But how does Gita look at it? Knowledge is integration of science and integration of yourself. In science, the person does not exist. Me does not exist. You are only dealing with the objective, objects in front of you. But Gita is both subjective and objective. Kshetra and Kshetrajna. You understand the external world and also your own mind, what is going on. The world inside your mind is bigger than the world outside. So unless you understand both of them, then you are not really seeing anything. So Gita was taught by normal people, not ascetics, not sannyasis. The person who was listening to him was also from the royal family. So ordinary people are discussing about extraordinary matters. So it talks of manliness also and godliness also. It talks of science and spiritualism. It talks of physics and beyond physics. Now, science has a lot of things to offer. So people are always, if you criticize science, people get angry because we live in a scientific world and the science has given a lot of things to us. So all the material comfort has come to us from science. Artha and Kama, two aspects of Purushartha are from science. And to take a few words from Netanyahu, we took a centuries from printing press to telephone, a few decades from telephone to personal computer, only a few years from personal computer to internet. So science is now progressing at a breathtaking speed. And tomorrow what was impossible day before yesterday became possible yesterday, and today it has become outdated. Similarly, we will be able to break the genetic code and cure the incurable, etc. So where is it leading to us? Now, two of the great scientists of today, what they have to say about Indian thought. Does India have, because all the scientists' names that we hear from Newton, Galileo, etc. are all foreigners. So why you talk about science when India has not contributed anything to science? So let's see, because there is a parallax there. So we do not know who Aryabhatta was, we do not know who Varahamihir, what Madhava series is, and therefore we think that India never contributed. They will say India's contribution in science is zero. Two ways. So when I read the Bhagavad Gita and reflect about how God created this universe, everything else seems to be superfluous. How many of us know what is written in the Bhagavad Gita about the creation of this universe? And see, Carl Sagan, a millennium before Europeans were willing to divest themselves of the biblical idea that the world was a few thousand years old, 4004 BC. The Mayans were thinking of millions and the Hindus were thinking of billions. So this is the shloka that inspired Albert Einstein. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam means Sahasra is 1000. Mahayuga is a sum total of 4 yugas. Just here, 4,32,000 years is, that is solar year. Human year is called 1 Kali Yuga. Twice of that is Dwapar Yuga, thrice of that is Treta Yuga, 4 times Kali Yuga is Satya Yuga. Sum total of this is 4.32 billion years is 1 Mahayuga. And it says the Sahasra Yuga Paryantam is the daytime. So 4.32 billion years, that is 1000 Mahayuga, is the daytime of Brahma. Similarly, 4.32 billion years is the night time of Brahma, called 1 Kalpa. And just go here. 1 full day of Brahma, that is daytime and night time. Ahar plus this Nisha, Ahara Nisha. That is 8.64 billion human years. That is just 1 day of Brahma. Then you could calculate 360 days of Brahma and then 100 years of Brahma. It gives you a mind-boggling number, 3.11 trillion years. And we are now living in the 51st year of Brahma. Whenever any Purohit comes to your house for any function, maybe you are shifting to a new house and he comes for Graha Pravesham. He tells all these things in a language we don't understand. And in a language that is this science and technology, he doesn't understand. So there is a big gap between him. We understand science and technology, but we don't understand Sanskrit. Those who know Sanskrit do not know science and technology. If this gap is bridged, then everything becomes easier. Tomorrow's world will be a happier world. Now the magic of 108. Why do we have 108 in our mala? Very simple, but ask many people, they won't be knowing. Because it's something to do with this external phenomena. Diameter of the sun divided by diameter of earth is 108. Please verify tomorrow and tell me. I have verified many times, so I don't have to know. Distance between the sun and the earth divided by the diameter of the sun also gives you 108. Distance between the earth and the moon divided by the diameter of the moon also gives you 108. These are all phenomena in nature. No man can create. It is not a decimal system, etc. So, this 108 was very sacred for us. Now somebody was saying about Jagat is Jagata, that which moves. And they have told Om Jai Jagadish Hare. Why did they call Vishnu as the Lord of that which moves? That means he is Lord for only 50% of this universe. He is not Lord for that which does not move. Then why should I pray a God who is not a God for anything that does not move? And what does latest physics say? Everything is made of atom, and inside the atom the electron is there. The electron is always in motion. Is there anything from the tiniest electron to the farthest star in this universe, anything that is not in motion? Everything is in motion. Knowing fully well, they gave one of the names for Vishnu as Jagata Isha. Otherwise they would not have given, they would have selected some other name. So they knew. The cosmic dance of Shiva. What he says, Nan Asaindal Asayim Ulagam. And if I stop dancing, the whole world will collapse. It go into black hole. And you can see a statue of Nataraja kept at CERN, that is the European Center for Nuclear Research in Geneva, the latest laboratory that they have created in the 21st century. There a statue of Shiva is kept, Nataraja is kept, and this explanation is given there. In the Vedas we had Hridaya word, and the dictionary for Veda is called Nirukta. And it tells you what is the meaning of this Ri, Da, Ya. Ri comes from Hareti, means to receive. Da comes from Dadati, is to give. And Ya comes from Yati, that means to circulate or to move. And these are only three functions of the heart. So you don't have to wait till 17th century when somebody else told you what is the circulatory system. It was already there in the Vedas. Now, where is the parallels between the science and the Vedas? We have seen how science has achieved many things. We have also seen that there is some science in our Vedas and the Upanishads. Now, science deals with motion. Laws of motion of Newton are very famous. But it is only objective, it does not play with mind. It does not have heart. So it does not have emotions. Whereas Bhagavad Gita also has emotion. And when you work with motion without emotion, you may come with commotion. In science you have tension. And how to avoid tension, how to get rid of tension, how to overcome tension? Pay attention and do meditation. In science you have only IQ, intelligence quotient. But Gita has emotional quotient, Bhakti Yoga. Then it has got the spiritual quotient. Then now it has called the creativity quotient. All these words are being used by people in these most modern ages in the universities. Science explores the nature that is outside. Bhagavad Gita explores not only the science outside, also explores inside, Swabhava. That is where you score over them. But science is now slowly coming towards what our forefathers have been, rishis have been saying for so many years. So science works on two planes, that is only is the body, because physical activities, and then brain, that is called the intellectual activity. So they have got several scholars, either scientists or philosophers. But in the absence of a total integrated view, many of their philosophies have suffered, many of their scientific investigations have caused enormous danger to this world. Today we see a marriage between extremist elements and weapons of mass destruction. When these weapons of mass destruction fall into the hands of these extremists, we have seen what has happened. September 11, till yesterday, was famous for Swami Vivekananda's talk, where he said, "Sisters and brothers of America." That is where he synthesized the East and the West. Same September 11 is today remembered for something else, as a destruction. So both are going parallel, because in one you see the heart, the other you don't see the heart. So Gita has four planes: body, mind, intellect and spirit. Therefore, you have Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. The scientist is working, so he is doing karma, but it is not Karma Yoga. Yoga is an attitude. How you look at your, as the previous speaker said, you have right to your duty, but you don't have right for the fruits of action. So this converts karma into Karma Yoga. So then science has no place for bhakti or emotions. Science is objective and is ethics free. It doesn't care whether the scientist is making a clone of Hitler or anybody. It says science is science. But today many people are saying that no, science must have ethics, otherwise the whole world will be destroyed in no time. But Rajaji, that's why he said, if knowledge does not integrate with bhakti and issue out as action, such as knowledge is useless tinsel. So he has given a warning. Now all this science is based on this reductionism approach, which came from the 17th century. 1825 is the year when Descartes laid down certain principles for scientific investigation. He himself was a great mathematician. He was a few years before Newton. Then Newton also brought many mathematical equations. So together they formed this mechanistic worldview. And in this mechanistic worldview, their assumption is the entire world is made up of certain, it's like a machine. It has got different parts. For example, you want to assemble a computer. So you take a hard disk, you take a motherboard, you take various elements, put them together, you have a beautiful personal computer. And same way they thought that if you reduce the whole world into small bits, parts, and understand these parts and put a sum together, then you know the whole universe. So the universe can be understood. Their assumption is sum total of the parts is equal to whole. Today no more. And these are the problems that come with the understanding of world from this Cartesian reductionist approach. And all these problems are basically crisis of perception, and right perception can be given by Gita. See, for example, today's modern family, what is happening? You distance your parents, you distance your relatives, you divorce your wife, and thereby destroy your children. And in that, Indian children are very, very lucky. They say, the whole world says, why Indians are the most brilliant in the world? Indians and Chinese. Why? Because when the Indian or a Chinese or an Asian boy returns home, he goes to that home in which both his biological parents are staying in the same house. How many people in the world can claim this? And it's not a small thing. Gita has endeared us for thousands of years. Now look at these great people whose marriage has lasted just a few hours. Now many people are coming to India, getting married in the presence of their children a second time. They go to Thiruvananthapuram, they go to Kashi, they go to Rajasthan, big temples, marry the Vedic way. Because somebody has told that once you marry the Vedic way, your marriage is not long last. So they have to marry a second time when they see that there is friction going on at home. Now some of the philosophers, because the 17th century, 1601 to 1699, that was the age of reason, that is, age of a lot of scientific discoveries. Why it happened in 1600 and not 1500 and not 1400, can anyone answer? Between 5th century and this 15th century, there was hardly any scientist of eminence. And suddenly in the 17th century, so many scientists, one after the other, just a gap of 10 years, you have got so many great thinkers and philosophers. And next century was the century, that is the 18th century was the century of enlightenment, that is philosophers. Now, Pierre Bayle, he argues for toleration. He said tolerance should be there because people have their own views. So many people have so many views and nothing can be proved conclusively. So when things cannot be proved so conclusively, why not give them a chance to think in their own way? Because so much of bloodshed was there in Europe. What does Bhagavad Gita say about unity in diversity? Then there are various shlokas that talk of unity in diversity. I will tell one thing that is the climax of all these things will be in the Vedas. Rig Veda it says, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. Truth is one, sages call it by various names. So we have Anekatami Ekata, Vetrumayil Utrumai. All these phrases in different languages coming from this Avibhakte Vibhakteshu. Similarly, not only we talk of tolerance, we talk of universal oneness. So George Berkeley in 1710 gave principles of human knowledge. He said all that we know comes to us from these five senses. The sense of seeing, the sense of hearing, the sense of touch, sense of smell, etc. These five. The Tiruvallur has already said, Shivai Oli Uru Ose, Natram in the Aindil Ugai Trivan Katte Ulagan. So knowledge comes from these things, the external knowledge. But we have to go beyond this external knowledge. That's why he said, Ainta Vitta Natal Agal Shumulur Koman. So you have control over these senses, otherwise you are going to mess up yourself and others. So this has been told. Vedanta says, Manomaya Kosha has the mind, the chitta, that is the subconscious mind, and also the five jnanendriyas. So they have accepted these five as the jnanendriyas. And about knowledge, in the 4th chapter we have Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam. There is no Shraddha equivalent for that in English language because there is no Shraddha there. They only believe in what can appear in the test tube that has to be accepted. If God exists, He should appear into my test tube. Otherwise I don't accept. They don't accept mind because the very phrase, never mind, what do you mean by never mind? That means so trivial. So the mind was not accepted during the 16th, 17th, 18th century. Only now people are thinking, because when they are doing at the subatomic level, they find that you are no more an observer, you become a participant. Your mind is playing hell with the particles that are there. So we'll see that later. So we'll just go so far because the philosophical aspect, as I told you, I am very as novice as yourself. And there are eminent 3 scholars here to answer all your philosophical questions and queries. So we'll just see the other side of it. They get through so many great thinkers because advancement in science also helps people to think beyond, because once your stomach is full, now you want to explore so many things. The science has given you a lot of comfort. It is based on artha and kama. So pursuit of happiness, and after is various developments in the material world. So with that they came with so many these philosophies. So Adam Smith talks of capitalism, socialism by Henry D. Saint, and communism by Karl Marx. Survival of the fittest was given by a British philosopher called Herbert Spencer in 1850. Now Adam said, then came John Keynes. So what does he say? He said, for another 100 years, for one more century, let us say that fair is foul and foul is fair. Can we accept, if you are a student of Vedanta, fair is foul and foul is fair? Because a man who is selfish, who is greedy, he is going to push himself and he is going to do a lot of work. And when he is going to do a lot of work, a lot of discoveries and inventions can be made. And if he is not going to be selfish, if he is not going to be greedy, he will be sitting and doing meditation, doing nothing. So why we create such things? So we must be selfish. That's what his argument is. Avarice should be our God. Greed should be our God. Now what has happened to tank? Now what has happened to America's entire $1 trillion economy? Why is it collapsing? Because of this avarice. What the Citibank people were told? Go and sell all the Citibanks to give them loan at right and left. The more loans you give, the better for us. So they went on giving loan to everyone. Now the people are not able to pay the interest on the loan. And they had raised their properties. They say, you take my property. These property have no value today. So Citibank has collapsed. So this greed is, now they are thinking that capitalism should be moderated. Now, Mahatma Gandhi has said, around the same period when Keynes was saying this, there's enough for man's need but not for his greed. And we have said in our Vedanta there are 6 basic enemies, Shadaripus. This Kama is lust, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, lust, anger, greed, Moha, Mada, Matsar. That is temptation, intoxication, envy. Even in our mantra we say, Ma vid vishavahe, let there be no enmity, no, not be jealous of others. So about socialism, collapse of communism and all, capitalism is unequal sharing of blessings, is Vincent's famous quotation. And socialism, equal sharing of miseries. And we have seen socialism involves slavery in China, we have seen it in Russia, and seen it everywhere. In capitalism, man exploits man. In communism, it's just the opposite. Man exploits man. because both of them are based on materialism. They don't take you above your five senses. So capitalism, communism are two sides of the same coin, which is taking you down. What does we say? So he says, the person who coined this survival of the fittest, he says, people can never be free, people can never be happy. Will Buddha and Shankara accept these things? So their philosophy is how to free you. So a person went to America, so I asked him, when will I be free? He said, when I, that ego, cease to be. So if you remove that I, you will be free. So here we have got another famous one. A man who earns shall eat, that is their way of thinking. Say the man who earns shall feed. Because who else can feed? Avaya has said, I am ittuvun and erpadi igarchi. Erpadi igarchi, don't beg. But very next sentence says, I am ittuvun, give offer to others and eat. People may see some paradox in it. But think more deeply, you will understand the two meanings. Now, parallax between science and Hindu values. What do you think about Artha and Kama? Artha and Kama should be moderated by Dharma. This Dharma also does not have an equivalent in English language, and therefore they are going round and round. Unless they come with some equivalent, they will not be able to progress in this scientific world. And what does Mahabharata say? Bhishma gives an advice to Yudhishthira. Na jatu kamat na bhayat na lobhat dharmam tejet. Under even kama, lust, or bhaya, fear, or lobha, greed, do not forsake dharma. Jivatasyapi hetoho, dharmo nityam, sukha dukhe anityam. Dharma is eternal. These transitory pleasures, these short-term benefits that you get in Citibank, these are all will not last you, take you much. So there are different dharmas and it has got different meanings. So immediately people say, what about this dharma and this dharma? So there are different types of dharma. Pittu dharma, matu dharma means the duty of the parents. When you say agni dharma, it means the property of fire. When you say swa dharma, it means basic nature. When you say sadak dharma, road rules. Similarly, if you say dharmavan and dharmakarya, means charity. When you say dharmaraj or dharmakanta, it means being impartial. Samaj dharma means to be harmony in the society. Like that, dharma goes has many things. Even the wife is called dharma patni. Now, the difference between man and animal, very well explained in our ancient scriptures. So what is the differentiate man from animal? Man also sleeps and animals sleep. Animal and man also have hunger. They have fed for their progeny and they want to protect themselves. So, aharanta, bhayam, mithunam, these four qualities, samanya metak pashuvinharanam, are common to man and animal. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. Dharma alone is differentiating man from animal. Dharmena hina, without dharma, man is an animal. Pashuvi samana. So that's why Ram does not behave. He goes to Vanavas because dharma is abiding. And Bharata also does not rule from Ayodhya. He goes to a village, Nandigram, and from there he keeps. Now just see the next neighboring country, Malaysia. They have taken this couplet from Ramayana. Whenever a minister takes oath, whether even if he is a prime minister, what does he say? I will rule this country by the orders of Rama's Paduka. Urusan Sri Paduka Baginda, on behalf of the Paduka of Sri Rama. And when one of the sultans become Agong, the president, what does he say? He says still further, Urusan Sri Paduka Dhuli Baginda. The Dhuli, that is the dust of the sandal of Lord Rama, the Paduka of Rama, is holier than the Paduka itself. So this is a concept. When one person was explaining this to in Hare Rama Hare Krishna temple in USSR, that is Russia, one person said, I can't understand this. He said, if you want to understand this, next Janma you have to be born in India, only then you can understand. So many questions can be answered easily. Go to Ganges and pray for your next birth. Now, see, swine flu, what happened? In Egypt they killed all the pigs because the pigs are reared by mostly the poor Christians. So they killed all the pigs. Today the streets of Egypt, Cairo and other places are stinking because the pigs, what they do, they eat away all the rubbish. Now there are no scavengers to remove the rubbish. So how to remove? The pigs which you thought are unclean are cleaning your city. And God has created everybody in a proper way. There's harmony. and we are playing with it. In Thane district, where I was working among the Adivasis, they had exported, because China wanted a lot of frog legs. So they went on killing the frogs. What happened? The frogs eat the locust and thereby protect your agricultural farm. Now there are no frogs. So all the agriculture went up. So we should not play with nature. That is the lesson here. Science and philosophy grows through hard work, action and karma. So this we have seen, path of selfless action. Now here, Gita is an integration, a synthesis of karma yoga, jnana yoga and bhakti yoga, and take you to spiritual enlightenment. Therefore, different facets of an individual and different people in the society have different ways of looking at it, different aspirations. They have, they can go along with one path or the other. So it gives you so many choices. Therefore, it is superior parallax between science and society. Now, what was the parallax between science and Europe in the 17th, 16th century? Am I crossing my time? 2 to 3 minutes. So I'll just see, you can just see that they had problem with earth, sun, etc. The Newton, when they said, Galileo, when he said that the earth is moving, pursi movi is the Latin phrase that he used, and he was punished. So ancient Hindu sciences were going with science. So philosophy and science were going together. Therefore, we did not have this parallax which they had in their. Now, I was telling why there was a sudden outburst of so many philosophers and thinkers after the 16th century. That is after 1498. 1498, Vasco da Gama came to India. And he was told, bring all the scientific books from Kerala. At that time, Kerala Sanskrit was in top form. It was leading in science, astronomy, grammar, and so many other subjects. And Marco Polo came in 1275 and told them, he took camel loads of books from India. And these were distributed all over Europe in their universities. Today, people who are doing research. One person who is doing research in Manchester has said that many of the things that were given to Newton were only translations of these mathematics from Kerala. So you can just see this printing press, and then this Gregory was the Pope who ordered that all the books from India should be brought so that they can make a better calendar for them. And this Gregorian calendar was formed in 1582 with the help of Indian sciences. Now you see so many scientists suddenly coming up after Vasco da Gama took all the books from India. So Copernicus, Kepler, Bruno, Galileo, Isaac Newton, Leibniz gained credit for calculus, but calculus existed in India before. Now you just see, here are the Indian inventions thousands of years before, or 100 and 200 years before, and equivalent foreigners' claims. Pythagoras' theorem was Bodhayana Sutra. Then Pascal's triangle is called Triloshtaka by Varahamihira. But even much before Varahamihira, this was discussed in the Vedic time. Then see here, Brahmagupta series is called Pell's equation. And similarly, you can see so many. Now you can see all these things in Wikipedia. I just took it from there and I have cut and pasted it here. So you can also verify. These are the names given by them. So Virhankas, what we know the Fibonacci series, actually it existed at the Vedic time, and because they had this chanda, you know, this even Gayatri chanda and all. To form this chanda, we need all of these meters, and they had this. So it goes on. The list is very big. I have not gone all of them into the Wikipedia because of lack of time. But these are the big mathematicians who influenced Newton, Leibniz, and various other people. That this Charles Darwin's theory has been debated all these centuries. But we have no problem. Here is that theory of evolution from Matsya Avatar to Kalki Avatar. Now science in its most advanced stages today is closer to Vedanta than ever before. Alfred North Whitehead, this is a British mathematician, has said. Now why did he say? Now just see here. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity is in 1905. It has something closer to Hinduism. What is that? No time. Quantum physics, 1913, Niels Bohr. What did Niels Bohr say about Hinduism? I'll come to it later. Erwin Schrödinger, 1926. In between 1920, bosons were by Satyendranath Bose. And string theory, just now our eminent speaker, he gave you about the string in the Bhagavad Gita. And what the scientists today are talking are one and the same, string theory. The uncertainty principle, for that you have to read Shankara, then you will understand this And see here, and then there is a parallel what I was talking to you, Dr. Sergey and Chamberlain, 1959. So here, at the beginning of the 20th century, the discovery of atomic structure, uncertainty principle has put an end to Cartesian and Newtonian world view, which has made the world because of this disastrous way. Now you just see the Nataraja statue at CERN, Geneva. This is European Center for Nuclear Research. And there he has written why this statue. Hundreds of years ago, Indian artists created visual images of dancing Shivas in a beautiful series of answers. In our time, physicists have used the most advanced technology. Now, what does Einstein say? I have made Gita the main source of my inspiration and guide for the purpose of scientific investigations. If Gita goes far and wide, Singapore will produce many Einsteins. Neil Bohr, he says, I go into Upanishad because I can ask questions. The buddhi of the rishis is far more than the vast knowledge of science today. Then this Heisenberg, after a conversation about Indian philosophy, some of the ideas in quantum physics that are seemed crazy, they appear to be making sense. And this is in the year 1942 when this nuclear test was made. This is by Robert Oppenheimer. When he was asked by these Archduke and these various TV people of today, at that time, BBC and all CNN must have asked him, how do you feel? He did not answer in English, he did not answer in Jewish language or in German language, he spoke in Sanskrit. Same way here. Heisenberg uncertainty principle is similar to Brahman. It is here, it is there, it is below, it is. So you have that Nanta Pragyam, Na Pragyanakanam, Bahish Pragyam, etc. That explains him. See, Mahi Sarvam Idam Protam, Sutra Mani Ganaha Iva. This is that 7th chapter, 7th shloka is the model string theory. You can read that and this, you will find many things flowing. This is the antimatter, and that is, Srila Prabhupada said, the spiritual world, that it can never be annihilated. 1 second. So that's my talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, to bring comparisons, parallels, paradoxes between science and Gita openly. Any questions? Directly a question.
As I said, science has only two dimensions and karma. There are only two dimensions, and the intellectual. Whereas Gita and the Indian scriptures have 4 levels. Yes, at the body level, the mind level, the intellect level, and then the 4 levels of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. So science has to get into yoga, then it should be Parallax should be removed. Then the ego goes. Similarly, it has to understand dharma, then the Parallax will go. Understand it? But the whole world also has a lot of such. You understand very rightly. So you say about India, just the opposite is also true. Bombay, you have got skyscrapers, and just below that you have got apartments. Now what is the solution? If all the Hindus become 1% more charitable, all the poverty in India can go. So it is a collective responsibility. I work for an organization called Seva International. In India we are running more than 90,000 free schools, hospitals, orphanages, etc. and still not in the ocean. The organization that is working in India genuinely for the upliftment of the poor and the needy, this order that you will eradicate this. In another 10-15 years we will eradicate. India cannot talk philosophy with a begging bowl. So we have to overcome that. Before I end, I just need to say all questions are over. 2 years back, India went into we had 5 spacewalks that is the highest one. We stayed there for more than 6 months, 192 days. That is one of our spacewalks for more than 23 hours. Same species came back. So there was a teleconferencing with IIT students. One of the students said, all alone for 6 months they are not afraid. Gets into that. What we should do? Because our thief will come. But then man's nature is like that, mind is like that. Man is afraid even of his own shadow. But she said, a girl who is born and brought up outside India, she hates all the overseas Hindus. What did she say? Statue with me. What statue? And then I took one book with me. All of us are talking. The student of Bhagavad Gita is the pride of America today. Happy that you are conducting seminars on Bhagavad Gita and propagating it. Next, Indians of Singapore of tomorrow will come through this. PowerPoint presentation to Sri Master. This is.
Thank you, Sri Ravi Kumar, for your lively presentation, explaining the parallax as these exist, science and our scriptures. I also thank Sri Natarajan for conducting this session. We have come to the end of our first half of the forum. On behalf of the Gita Jayanti Committee, I would like to thank all of you for your participation. The organization of an event of such a magnitude would not be possible without your enthusiastic support. So we request you to continue to do so by participating in all the upcoming events, details of which are given on the website www.gitajayanti.org.sg. Another way of extending your wholehearted support could be through advertisements, sponsorships, as well as donations. Donation boxes are placed at the back of the auditorium and in the ground floor. Please approach our volunteers for the same. We shall now break for 20 minutes. I invite all of you to join us for a light tea downstairs. Kindly be back and be seated by 5 p.m. for the rest of the day.